Hi there, everybody. This is Mark Bromley, your favorite artist and author of the Yoranthium book series. And today I am presenting to you a copper engraving of a nude woman. Uh, this is done on a 1 inch by 1 inch piece of copper. The way the art teacher explained it to me when they were doing this over at Western University in Colorado, um, he said it's the cheapest way to supply artists. If you get a 20-foot pipe, or even a 10-foot, okay, we'll go with 10-foot pipe. If you go to the hardware store, buy a 10-foot pipe, 1 inch pipe of copper tubing, usually used for your water supply system in your homes back in the 70s, you would spend about $10 to $20 for a 10-foot section that you're going to cut into 1 inch pieces, and then you're going to cut it open and flatten it into 1 inch by 1 inch copper engraving plates. That's basically what's going on here, which is a pretty good deal because 10 feet, 1 inch for 10 feet, 12 inches in a foot. You end up with 120 said pieces that you can actually dole out to, well, each class has 20 students. So roughly, you got enough for about 6 classes of students here with the copper engraving. And this is actually pretty brilliant. I mean, it just costs like $20 in materials. And as long as you have a printing press and you have all the ink that you need. The ink is the most expensive. When it, that goes figures. The ink is the most expensive, and it's funny because in that video game, The Witcher 3, there's this woman. She sends you on a quest to go find her skillet that she cooks everything in. Somebody stole her skillet from her stove. It's an actual quest. They stole her skillet. And then when you go through the whole entire quest, you find out that the skillet was stolen because the person was scraping off all the burnt stuff that was on the pan to make ink. And you sit here and you realize that ink's incredibly expensive in printmaking for some reason. I mean, that is the gold. I guess it's the solid gold there. When you want to make books and stuff, where do you have to go? You have to go get ink. So how are you going to get ink? Are you going to use a press? How big of a piece of paper can you put in that press? Because the more paper you can put in that press, the more area you can cover at once, the more pages you can make all at once, the less ink that you use. You could save a lot of money. So if they jack up the price on ink, well, you can see that printmaking becomes a quite an expense. And if you're like an author like me that has printmaking skills and printmaking abilities that can make prints and engravings like this on copper, you can write anything you want on this copper. I mean, look at the curvature on these lines. These are fantastic curves. And it's not just a commentary on the artwork itself. I mean, it is quite nice, but it is basically, yeah, you could write letters in there and you can print your own books off of this. And all you need to do is just find a way to enough copper, a sizable plate of copper to engrave in, and you can make a permanent plate to write all your works down in if you wanted to, if you had enough ink. But ink's expensive too, and so is the press. The press would be pretty expensive. Yeah, you could build your own, but is it going to be the right pressure, the right amount of pressure? Can you control that pressure? Because you have to actually engineer control into your presses if you're going to actually make made art. Which, again, this is one of my political struggles here in the state of Colorado about the piss poor quality of educators that we're overpaying in our schools. We are overpaying educators in our public schools here in Colorado. And if you know what I'm talking about, the person I've been running against mayor for since 2019 is a terrible, awful person. If you go down to a Belmar school, check it out online. It does poor in mathematics, it does poor in reading. And you know what? Math skills, reading skills are fundamental to art. You cannot say that your students are artists and this is why they cannot read or write because they do art. That is the most bullshit thing that I've ever seen pushed by the Democrat agenda here in Adams County, District 12 schools. The North Korea of the United States, the Americanized version of North Korea here in Northglenn. It is garbage that they actually tried to tell students that. And, you can't call that an art teacher. If they cannot teach math, they cannot teach reading, then they're not teaching art. Because to create This kind of copper engraving requires knowledge of reading, math, and science to actually create the printmaking process. Yeah, writing and reading is a form of art. Art is the highest form of science known to man because all our scientific devices, our paintbrushes, our chisels, our scrapers, our methods of making copper, uh, melting metal, bending metal, yeah, it requires math, high reading, high intellect of science in order to do art. And this is why art is the highest science known to humanity, because it requires a vast amount of knowledge. It requires a library. And I am so infuriated by my North Korea of Colorado here in Adams County, North Glen, Colorado. Here in my local town, North Korea, North Glen, Colorado, there is no library. Oh, the old library is still being used, but it's only a distribution hub for the anythings. I tried to talk to Anythink, and they told me what they needed to put a library here, but they're kind of a conglomerate of libraries and stuff like that. And the reality is, see, my last name is Bromley. Emmett Ayers Bromley founded Adams County, Denver, large portions of Colorado. And because of that, I've been plagued with political nemesis ever since I was 4 years old and they identified me. They identified me as an artist of all things, one of the most brilliant people to be born in our society is the artist, because the artist has incredible math skills, incredible reading skills, incredible science skills in order to create art. And printmaking proves the quality of an artist. To be able to make a successful print that will reprint over and over and over the same image is really what makes an artist great. And libraries make artists great. And when you take away libraries, history, science, all that stuff away from an artist, it makes it difficult for an artist to grow and to develop. The person I've been running against since 2019, she is a terrible educator. Her school, Belmar, shows it online, and there's even a graph that shows that her school failed the moment she took office. It started failing the students. Bottom third, bottom rung, bottom shelf educations. And that's where we're at. We're promoting bad educators, terrible people in our society, and we're paying them too much in Colorado to be terrible educators, where they think they can actually get their hands on high technology, things that we need every single day for millions of people, and then they can slide in wealth making gadgets for what? Foreign globalists, World Economic Forum, the children of the Nazis. Yeah, they own businesses. They still own businesses, these children of the Nazis. And they want to control U.S. politics. And that's why there's so much money in the Democrat Party. That they use our taxes, they take your taxes, they pay for this shit, they pay for themselves. And they're bad educators. They're terrible people. And they create the American version of North Korea. What I've been experiencing ever since I was 4 years old here in the state of Colorado. Real poverty. But you can change that. All you have to do is just support my artwork. Help me get the tools I need to create my artwork. I can do publishing, I can do printing, I can make books, I can create art, I can even bind books. I learned that at Western University. And I don't know. This world just wants to keep me poor. It's like somebody else wants to make money, but they don't care about me making money. They want my skills, they want my knowledge, they want my abilities, but they don't want to compensate me to live my own life, to have what I'm supposed to have in my life. They just want it for themselves. Selfishness. And this is why I experienced the North Korea of the United States of America and what that looks like here in the USA when the USA is North Korea. Yeah, just because North Korea, see, the North Korea that you see over there, that's just because it's a Middle Eastern nation cut off from all other nations, forced into its poverty. But here in the United States, when you're forced into poverty, it kind of follows a different rule set because you're in the USA. but you still don't get any access to wealth or the income that you need, that your family needs, that your people need. You don't get it. But here it is, a lithograph of a copper plate engraving done through a printmaking process. And you can see it's quite good. And to get the copper, they were a little cheap. They went and got copper pipe, 1 inch copper pipe, cut it into 1 inch slats, cut it open, and then flattened it. And that's where we got our copper plates. Well, I'm Mark Bromley. Thank you for looking. Thank you for looking at my artwork. Support my artwork. Get my book. Go to the website and email me. Thank you.